Hello students of 8th standard. We are starting with chapter 4, how the traders became rulers. Okay, in first chapter we had learned that till the 18th century, India was very prosperous. It was famous for its culture and prosperity, right? And people were eager to trade with India. We had Portuguese, Dutch, French people and also Britishers who came to India and wanted to trade here and earn lot of profit out of it. Okay, now slowly and gradually when they extended their trade in India, they started to rule also. After the battle of Plassey and Buxar, Britishers were confident that they not only can trade in India but they can also rule over here. So during that time, there was a tough competition between France and England. The England people thought that in order to establish their territory in India, they have to expand their rule. And so they came up with different policies. One of the policy was subsidiary alliance. What is subsidiary? Subsidiary means controlled by other. So India was controlled by Britishers and alliance means agreement. So this was an agreement that the kingdom would be controlled by the Britishers. Now let us understand this in detail. Subsidiary alliance was introduced by Lord Wellesley, that is Richard Wellesley. He was Governor General of India from 1798 to 1805. So he came up with this policy. Now what was the condition of this policy? If an Indian ruler who would join this alliance, he would have to maintain the British army. Maintain the British army means he had to give the payment for maintaining the British army in his kingdom. So take for an example, this is a kingdom of an Indian ruler, right? The British soldiers would be there in his kingdom and those will be protecting the Indian rulers. So when the Indian ruler would give the payment for the maintenance, in return, the British army would protect the Indian ruler from foreign attack or internal conflict also with the other Indian rulers. So this was one of the policy. Next one. The Indian rulers were not allowed to utilize the British army at their own will. What was the next condition? That the Indian ruler who accepted this policy will have to maintain it. But they cannot utilize the army when they need it. If they wanted to utilize, what they have to do? They have to take the permission from the Britishers. The another thing about this policy was that the Indian ruler who accepted this policy could not enter into a treaty with other Indian ruler. Next one. The Indian ruler had to keep a British representative in the royal court. Now what was the condition? That Indian ruler who accepted this alliance will have to keep a British representative in the royal court. British representative means an official of the British army. He would be there in the royal court of the Indian ruler. Now what this representative used to do? They used to inform the company about the administration of the Indian ruler, how the income was coming, where the money was utilized, how much treasury that Indian ruler had. So all these details this representative used to tell the company, that is British East India Company. Now what happened? Many a times this representative who used to sit in the royal court, they used to even inform the British East India Company that the ruling king is not very brave, he is not efficient, even his descendants are also like that. So many a times what happened? The British East India Company used to attack on that particular kingdom and they used to annex it. So like this, Lord Wellesley had come up with a policy showing that the British army would protect the Indian ruler whenever they required, okay, from foreign attacks or internal conflicts also. So this is about the policy of subsidiary alliance. Now let us go through the disadvantages of this. See, initially our Indian rulers thought that this policy is beneficial to them because the British army who had won Battle of Buxar and which was almost like turning point of India. So they thought if the British army are so brave and efficient and if they are protecting our territory from foreign attack was very good. So initially they thought that it is very useful to us. But what happened? It was not beneficial to our Indian rulers. In fact, it was very advantageous to the Britishers. Okay. If the king was not able to do the payment or he could not maintain the British army, what would happen? His part of territory was annexed by the Britishers. Take for an example, this is the kingdom of an Indian ruler. If the king was not able to do the payment, a part of his territory was taken away by the British East India Company. So it means the territory of the Indian ruler reduced to a certain extent. Okay, so this was one of the disadvantage which our Indian ruler had faced. Second one, the Indian rulers thought that there was no independence and they felt that they are enslaved and threatened. Why do you think the Indian rulers thought so? Now see what happened. Here, the Indian rulers were not allowed to utilize British army at their own will. They had the British army but they could not use it. Now during this time, the Indian rulers thought that the British army, they could save us from foreign attack. Even they could save us from internal conflict with the other Indian rulers. But what if the British army only comes and attack on us? So after thinking like this, they thought that this subsidiary alliance has trapped them. Now next one. The states became irresponsible. Why they became irresponsible? Because they thought that British army is there to protect us if any foreign attack is there or any other internal rivalry or internal war will be there. So what happened? They were at ease. They were totally dependent on the British army, and because of this, gradually what happened? There was misadministration in the kingdom of the king. And this led to anarchy also. Anarchy means complete disorder. Later on, what happened? The Britishers took advantage of this anarchy, disorder, and they conquered that territory also. So like this, if you see, it is given on page number 21. See, it is given here. Okay. Below Dalhousie's policy of annexation, this portion is about the subsidiary alliance, where the Britisher took advantage to start interfering in the internal affairs of these states on the pretext of putting an end to the anarchy. To stop the anarchy, the Britishers started interfering in the internal matters. They told that let us help you, and like this, slowly and gradually, they started conquering that particular kingdom. And like this, if you see, in the name of anarchy, we had Burma and Punjab. Both were annexed in the name of anarchy. They used to tell, see, there is anarchy in your state, nothing is going proper, so let us rule on your behalf. And gradually they annexed that place. Okay, so this is about subsidiary alliance, disadvantages to the Indian rulers. Now this subsidiary alliance proved to be a slow poison for the Indian rulers. Slow poison means the Indian rulers who accepted this subsidiary alliance, they were destroyed slowly and gradually. Okay, there was no sudden downfall of the Indian ruler, but they came to know that they are trapped in this. Okay, so this proved to be a slow poison. Now let us go through the victims of subsidiary alliance. Victims यानी क्या? Victims यानी शिकार बन जाना. जो subsidiary alliance लॉर्ड वेलेस्ले लेकर आए थे, जो उनके फायदे के लिए थी, पर हमारे इंडियन रूलर्स को लगा कि ये इसमें सारा फायदा हमारा होगा. Okay, and they started joining it. Okay, but actually they were victims of this subsidiary alliance. Okay, इसलिए हम उनको कहते हैं कि वो शिकार हो गए इसका. They were trapped with this subsidiary alliance. Now the very first name is Nizam of Hyderabad. Nizam of Hyderabad, he was the first one who became the victim of this. If you go through the map given on page number 19, see here, it is written here, Nizam of Hyderabad. Yes, this is Hyderabad. So the Nizam became the first victim of this. Now, then we had Mysore also. Now Mysore is here, it is written here. Go through the map. That is a part of Karnataka. Okay, then we had Tanjore also. Tanjore is in Tamil Nadu. That portion also was also victim of subsidiary alliance. Then we had Peshwas of Pune. Now here if you see, this portion is Maharashtra. Okay, so here Pune is there. So the Peshwas of Pune also were the victim of subsidiary alliance. Then we had Gaekwads of Vadodara. Okay, here Gujarat is written, here is Vadodara. So they also joined this and they became the victim of this. Then we have Gwalior, which is a part of Madhya Pradesh. You can see here Bhopal. Okay, here is Madhya Pradesh. So Sindhyas were ruling over Gwalior and they became the victim. Then we had Ayodhya. Then we had Jodhpur, that is Rajasthan. And then Karnataka also. So if you see, Nizam of Hyderabad, the place was captured by the Britishers in 1798. Then it was Mysore in 1799, Tanjore again in the same year. Peshwas of Pune, this place was taken in the name of subsidiary lines from the Peshwas in 1802. Gaekwads of Vadodara 1803. Sindhyas of Gwalior, that is in Madhya Pradesh 1803. Okay, now if you look at this, during this tenure of Governor General, in those 7 years, these all places were taken in the name of subsidiary lines from the Indian rulers. Okay, then we had Ayodhya also, Jodhpur also, and Karnataka. Punjab and Burma was also taken like this from the Indian rulers. Now let us learn about Tipu Sultan. He ruled over Mysore, that is in South India. The Britishers wanted him to accept subsidiary alliance, but he did not accept it, and so Britishers declared a war with him. That is known as Fourth Anglo-Mysore War in the history of India. Earlier also 3 Anglo-Mysore Wars were fought. The first one was fought by Tipu Sultan's father, that is Hyder Ali, with the Britishers, in which Britishers could not capture the territory of Mysore. But by the time of 4th Anglo-Mysore War, the Britishers were able to defeat Tipu Sultan and they captured the areas of Mysore. Maratha Empire was a very vast empire during that time, and it was divided into different states also, which were ruled by Holkar, Peshwas, Sindhyas, Gaekwad and Bhosle. Now, this whole Maratha Empire was very vast, and that was the reason that Britishers wanted to have it. So they could have the large territory from there and they could get the India's biggest part. Due to divide and rule policy, the Britishers acquired a major part of Maratha Empire into the company's rule. After the death of Nana Fadnavis, the Maratha Empire could no longer stay together, and with the help of divide and rule policy, the Britishers acquired major part of the Maratha Empire. Now let us go through this divide and rule policy. Ayodhya, Gorakhpur, these belong to Uttar Pradesh. Tanjore in South India, Karnataka also in South India, and Farrukhabad of Uttar Pradesh. These were captured through divide and rule policy. What was divide and rule policy? Divide and rule policy means to divide and conquer. So the Maratha chieftains were divided among themselves, they fought among themselves, and the advantage was taken by the Britishers. Okay, now 7 years rule of Lord Wellesley. Okay, the Lord Wellesley was Governor General of India from 1798 to 1805. Okay, so during his 7 years of rule, he captured most of the part of India and all became a part of company's territory. This is what we have learnt about subsidiary alliance and divide and rule policy. Now Britishers had conquered major part of South India. Okay, if you see page number 19, 4.1, map of India, the British rule they have shown. Okay, the part which is colored in pink, purple, green and yellow, these all were captured by Britishers gradually. Okay, so major part was conquered by them in South India, and so they moved to north. Now in north, if you see, they had a threat with Nepal. They thought that there is a danger with Nepal, so what they did, they signed a treaty of friendship with them. So they were secured from Nepal now. Now what happened? During that time, Maharaja Ranjit Singh was ruling over Punjab. I have tried to draw a map of India here. This portion is Punjab, which was ruled by Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Now with Maharaja Ranjit Singh was a very powerful ruler, okay, and very ambitious also. Britishers could not even think of fighting with Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who was ruling in this whole portion. Now the Britishers had a prolonged war with Afghans also. Okay. This is Pakistan. So with the help of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, they had fought with Afghans. They had also captured a region in Pakistan which is known as Sindh. Okay, they thought of entering Punjab. Okay, they wanted to conquer over Punjab. But till the time Maharaja Ranjit Singh was alive, they couldn't think of conquering over Punjab. After the death of Maharaja Ranjit Singh, we had Sir Henry Hardinge. Okay, who brought Punjab completely under the rule of Britishers. So this is about Tipu Sultan, Maratha Empire, and how till the time Maharaja Ranjit Singh was alive, they could not conquer over Punjab. Now let us learn about the next policy of expansion, that is known as annexation policy. Annexation policy means to annex. Okay. Now this policy was introduced by Lord Dalhousie, who was the Governor General of India from 1848 to 1856. Okay. Now this policy of expansion, that is annexation policy, proved to be very advantageous to the Britishers. Within no time, major of the territories of India was captured, was annexed, and it became the part of British rule. Now according to this policy of annexation, if an Indian ruler did not have a male heir, his kingdom was annexed. Okay, so Rani Lakshmi Bai, she did not have male heir. She had an adopted son, which was not accepted, and because of that her territory was annexed by the Britishers. Okay, so like this, it was important that an Indian ruler should have male heir. Okay, under this annexation policy, Satara, Nagpur and Jhansi were annexed. Satara was annexed in 1848, Nagpur in 1853 and Jhansi in 1854. Years are not mentioned in your textbook, just for your information I have written. Okay, you can see here the tenure 1848, from there he started annexing the territories of India. Satara is in Maharashtra, Nagpur is a part of Maharashtra and Jhansi Madhya Pradesh. Okay, if you go through the map which is given on page number 4, chapter 1, they have given us 3 maps. First is of 1797, then 1840 and last one 1857. See how gradually the British rule kept on increasing and they expanded their territory in India. The first map you can see, the blue portion was annexed by Britishers and that was their rule. And the yellow portion which you can see, that was Indian rulers' territory. In the second map, that is 1840, the blue area increased. Okay, so from East India you can see the south part of India was conquered. And slowly and gradually from south they moved towards north. Pakistan, which was a part of India during that time, from there North India, East India, parts of South India, these all were conquered by 1857. So this is how they increased their territory in India. Now when we talk about Lord Dalhousie, he made many changes in India during his tenure. Initially, he captured those areas which produced tea, coffee and cotton in abundance. And due to this, what happened? The British trader could trade very easily and also earn lot of profit out of it. Okay, now the very first reform which was made by Lord Dalhousie, that was first railway line in India. He started first railway line in India from Bombay to Thane, which is the distance of 34 kilometers, and that was established in 1853. The reason behind starting first railway line in India was that they could transport the troops and raw material from one place to another place very easily. No doubt, with the help of this railway line only, during the time of independence, our freedom fighters could commute from one place to another place very easily. Okay, so that helped us in uniting the freedom fighters. Next was postal system. postal system was started by Lord Dalhousie during his tenure, and there was uniform rate throughout the India. Even postal stamps also was started by Lord Dalhousie, okay, on which the government was getting revenue. Okay, and wireless system was also introduced between India and England so that the communication could become very faster and speedily. Okay, some social changes which he had brought during that time was banning child marriage. He advocated widow remarriage also during that time, which was very uncommon. Okay, so this was social reform which was brought by Lord Dalhousie. And one more, spread of English education started during his time. People were educated in English so that they could be employed at a lower wage. So these are the changes which were brought by Lord Dalhousie during his tenure, that is 1848 to 1856. Now there was some dissatisfaction among the people also. People were not very satisfied. After the subsidiary alliance and annexation policy, people were scared also, and they thought that the Britishers are suppressing us under the dictatorial regime. Okay, and they also thought that they are changing our culture. So these changes which were happening in the country during that time made people very upset, and all these things resulted into the rebel of 1857, and this is how the people were dissatisfied with the British rule. So students, we have completed our 4th chapter here. I have written all the main points on the board which you have to write in your CW. Read the textbook and try to find out the answers for the given question at the end of the chapter.